Good evening, YouTubers. It's the greatest noob, T-Bert325, and I'm coming at you with another episode of T-Bert, the greatest noobs, School of Dueling. Now, I have from Begin the Uprising, so this is episode is dedicated to him. He texted me and asked me about a whole bunch of rulings, so I'm going to give these to you guys. Before I commence with that, I'm going to give out my shout-outs. Let's go Fireheart Leon, MyGrow 105, Meek and Try, Shino 9591. Lunchboxes rock. Yes, they do. Lunchboxes are great deck boxes because you know that if someone has your lunchbox, you know where your stuff is. Mist Blue 90, Yu-Gi-Oh Girl 2009, Yu-Gi Boy 023, Broken Soul 718, Dennis J Truman Triple X, and Brian GG. Also special shout outs. Ion Miley, Ion Ashley, G Hopper 85, Begin the Uprising, FGX3, Holy Cheetos, and if I missed you, I'll get you on the next go round. Alright, so this is more of the first thing I'm going to get into is damage calculation effects, namely Spirit Reaper. Okay, put this down. Alright, hopefully you can see it. Right here I have Spirit Reaper on the field. Spirit Reaper is my opponent's monster. He is attacking me with said Spirit Reaper. Now Spirit Reaper is attacking me directly. I have no cards on the field, one card in hand. He attacks me, I take 300 damage. His effect immediately activates during damage calculation to discard a card from my hand. At the same time, I'm going to activate Gorz, the Emissary of Darkness's effect, since it is a optional trigger effect, or quick trigger, quick effect. I'm going to activate his effect. Now, if there are no negations, then I'm going to activate his effect by revealing him, then special summon him to my side of the field. Then Spirit Reaper effect goes off, says drop a card from your hand. Since I now have no cards in my hand, I don't drop one. After that resolves, Gorz's effect continues to unfold and brings out Cayenne to the field. Now, the reason why Gorz cannot special summon Cayenne in that chain is because there's a chain already unfolding. Chain link 1, chain link 2. This is resolving to special summon himself to the field. Now his mandatory effect to bring out Cayenne has to wait because there's this chain link that has not resolved and you cannot break into a chain like that. So then Spirit Reaper's effect goes off. Now if I did have a card in hand, then I would drop off the card in hand to the graveyard, and then I would get my Cayenne token to my side of the field. Okay, so to recap on that, Spirit Reaper is mandatory, therefore it's chain link 1. Gorz is optional, chain link 2. Anything that's mandatory automatically goes on the chain. Resolve first, resolve second. After that chain resolves, his effect to special summon a Emissary of Darkness token, which is Cayenne in Japan, then you bring him out. At that point in time, you can actually use cards like Divine Wrath or War Chariot or Chivalry. But if you want to use those cards, you should have activated it while he was activating his effect to special summon himself. Just saying. Okay, so that was number 1. Second scenario we have is Drill Warrior out of play, a face down Bottomless on the opponent's side of the field, and a Dandelion in the graveyard of the person playing Drill Warrior. Okay, so standby phase, Drill Warrior comes back. Drill Warrior's effect special summons himself, so his effect activates. At that point in time, you can activate cards like Royal Oppression, Black Horn of Heaven, and anything else, or Solemn Warning, main 3. Okay, so if that doesn't If it's not negated, he proceeds to special summon himself back to the field. His effect immediately starts a chain. Immediately. So therefore, this face down bottomless cannot hit him. It is not a legal activation. Well, what are you talking about? He special summoned himself to the field and he's at 2400. Well, because his effect is not a you can effect, it says then you must do this. That is another chain. Another chain is starting to form. So now you have to chain to his effect to add a monster from the grave back to his hand. So therefore he gets around this bottomless trap hole, and he gets around torrential. So anything that would activate at the timing of summon will miss when Drill Warrior is coming back from his own effect from out of play. That is food for thought, and that's a way to get away from bottomless and torrential. Now what I like to do is, as soon as I get him out of the field and I know my opponent has a mirror force, I'll set up a wall of dandy tokens and then wait till I get enough, and then stall my opponent out, and then use Caius to destroy the back row. That way it's going to get something out of the way, and then when he gets out, he can finally attack freely without having to be deprisoned or mirror forced. So recap on this one. If he's out of play by his own effect, his effect activates to re-special summon himself, and as soon as he hits the field, his effect automatically activates, which moves into another gameplay. You cannot activate the bottomless or the torrential. He automatically adds the card unless you negate his effect. Alright, that was number 2. Now, Effect Veiler was the third thing that Begin the Uprising asked me. What about Effect Veiler versus cards that activate in the grave? Well, Effect Veiler cannot activate its effect during the main phase to target a card that activates in the graveyard. Here's why. Effect Veiler says during your opponent's main phase, you can send this card to the graveyard to negate the effect of one face-up monster on the field. Now, if that card is not on the field, you can't veil it. That's just simple reading the card. Now, I'm not sure if that was Begin the Uprising's, if he got caught in that, or if it was someone else around him. I'm pretty sure it was someone else around him that tried to veil something that activated in the graveyard like Sangan. So no, you cannot use a Veiler on a Sangan that is activating in the graveyard from tributing face down. That doesn't happen. On the flip side, Skullmeister does. If I tribute my face down Sangan for a Caius. Now, I don't have any Skullmeisters to show since I traded those off a long time ago. But if I tribute off Sangan for Caius, target a monster and remove it. And Caius, there's no other complex chains involved. I remove their monster. Now Sangan has to wait to activate. And after all the chains have resolved, with Caius hitting the field and his effect going through, Sangan's effect activates in the graveyard. At that point in time, my opponent can pitch off their Skullmeister to the graveyard. Now it has to hit the graveyard. So if there's a D-Fissure or a Macrocosmos that is now activated and Skullmeister cannot hit the graveyard, its effect will not negate Sangan. So Sangan has to activates after all chains have resolved, and then my opponent can activate Skullmeister's effect. This is going to end this episode of the School of Dueling. Got another episode coming for you. Just a few more minutes, so you guys hang tight. It has been T-Bird 325, and I'm out.